Hello boys and girls, we are reviewing text features still. I kind of wanted to break it apart. So far we have talked about main idea and central idea, looking at Pink Lakes. We also talked about headings and subheadings, headings being Pink Lakes, subheadings would be your second one below. We looked at that in the Strange Sports book. So today I want to talk about a couple of other text features. Today we're going to talk about, we're going to look at maps and their purpose. Sorry for the shaking. We're going to look at tables and their purpose and how to read them with the text. And then we're going to just touch on bold print again. Those are our three objectives for this video. Okay, so first let's talk about maps. So a question that you are going to see or should be able to answer is the author put a map at the beginning of the text so the reader can. So let's break apart this question. What this question means is, what it is asking you is, why did the author include a map? What is its purpose? Well, to answer this question, let's look at our story that we had from the other day, Pink Lakes. So we have Pink Lakes, and if you remember, it's talking about this lake right here and why it's pink. And I'm going to read a little bit, and it says right here, but Lake Hillier in Australia is no ordinary body of water. So we know that it's located in Australia. Over here, you see a map. So let's look at this question. It says the author put a map at the beginning of the text so the reader can. Why do they put a map here at the beginning of this article? What is its purpose? Think about that for a second. Well, the author put a map at the beginning of this text so the reader can see where the lake is located. So the author put a map at any beginning of any text so they'll be able to show you where it's at. So you have an idea on a map so you can be familiar with its location. Another map that I want you to kind of see is right here. This is a text feature. It says the percent of Americans with heart disease, and it has different percents here. So this is another way that you may see a map question. Now this one just asks you what type of text feature it is, and that's pretty simple. This is a map. We need to go a little bit deeper. And so you should be able to use this type of map or this type of map to be able to answer questions about an article. Okay, let's look at another one. If you keep going in this book, we learned here about the neon green water. Well, if you notice, there's a map here. And so if I was to ask you the same question, the author put a map at the beginning of the text so the reader can. Why was this map included with this text? Again, to show you where the neon green lake is located. And again, this one is located in Wellington in New Zealand right here. So again, just to wrap it up, the author puts a map at the beginning of text so you can see where the lake is located or where the location is of whatever you are reading. All right, so we got our maps. Let's go back to our objectives. We got our maps, check, check. Now I want to look at tables. Now, I had a hard time finding information about tables. So I want to show you some example of some tables that I did find that we're going to look at. So the first one, we have this table here, and obviously it's a table, so it's not a question I really need you to answer. We already know text features. We can already identify them. Now we just have to be able to use them. So we have this text feature right here. Let me put my article to the side so it's not in the way. This text feature is a table, and it says, the title of our table says, how much does your heart beat? This says number of beats and the amount of time. When I look at this table, I can tell that there are 90 beats in 1 minute, so that means that there's 129,000 in a day, 3.8 million in a month, 47.3 million in a year. So being able to understand what the table is information providing, you need to make sure you take your time and read those. Here is another table. I've just pulled this from a magazine. This is a couple of years old, but it's still relevant. So we have a table here, and we know that this table is talking about U.S. presidents during the 1908 and 2016. So actually it's talking about what happened in 1908 and 2016. It's going to tell you the president, population, states, how much it costs to go to a World Series game, salary, and a price of a Hershey's chocolate bar back then. So this gives you lots of information. But over here, the one question I want to point to you, it says the U.S. population has grown by blank million people since 1908. So here's 1908 and here's this. This is the one that you have to figure out how much it has grown. So being able to read a table is important to apply it to questions similar to this. Now, a question I want you to be familiar with is from the table included, the reader can infer. Now this infer word right here just means think or come up with. Because remember, when you infer, you use what you already know plus what you read to come up with an inference, to come up with kind of like a conclusion. So from the table included, the reader can infer. So what you can come up with. So you're going to see a question very similar to this on your test. Basically, you're going to have to read your table and come up with, okay, what did I learn? What did I get out of this? Okay, another question that also includes tables is the author includes the table after the paragraph 2. All this one is asking you is, why is the table located there? Well, usually the table is going to go along with whatever that paragraph's talking about. So when you look at a table, for example, this table, maybe this table is included after a paragraph that talks about your heartbeat. So you might say the author includes this table after the paragraph to give more information about your heartbeats and how many times. So you have to pay attention to not only the paragraph, but also the table. So be careful there. Okay. Put that to the side. We reviewed tables. Now let's look at bold print. Just to kind of review bold print, I'm back in my Pink Lake books right here. Okay, so bold print, let me scoot this up a little bit, sorry about that. Right here, you notice that this is in bold print. Now remember, bold print is just a little bit darker than other words, and you can tell that this word right here, geysers, and sulfur are in bold print. So when you're looking at a bold print word, it's probably a very important word. So you're going to need to make sure that you're reading the sentence that it's in and maybe the sentence after or before to understand what this means. Now, if you're reading a nonfiction book and it's in bold, you can turn to the back and you're going to find a glossary and it'll tell you what it means. But on some of your tests or some of the books that you're reading independently, there's not always a glossary. So visitors come across steaming pits of mud and fountains of boiling water called geysers. Oh, well, this one tells me what a geyser is. Well, it is a fountain of boiling water called a geyser. So what is a geyser? A fountain of boiling water. Use your context clues when you come across a bold print word or even one that's underlined, your unfamiliar words. So always look around. Okay, your last one we're going to look at is the word sulfur. The terrible odor comes from a material in the ground called sulfur. What is sulfur? A material in the ground that puts off a terrible odor. You could also read before and read after to come up with it. So when you have a question that says, according to paragraph 3, what can the author, according to paragraph 3, what does geysers mean? Well, it means you're going to have to go back to that paragraph and read around it, whether it's bold or underlined. Okay, guys, good luck on your test.